Good afternoon, friends. Republic Day greetings from India and International Customs Day greetings from Customs community. Both these days were on January 26th, and probably this is the best day I could have a peer-to-peer connecting both. So let's start our presentation. And before I start my presentation, a small request to you. In between, if you have any doubts, please raise your hands. We can have discussion on that. You don't have to wait till the end of the presentation. And in between, if you want to make a comment, like in your country, this is like this, or you have seen in some other country, the procedure is like this, that's also most welcome. So we are starting the presentation. So this is the country we serve. Indian Customs is serving India, and just see the land borders and the coastal line of India. We have a land border of 15,200 kilometers and a coastline of 7,516.6 kilometers. So just imagine, like, guarding the economic frontiers of such a big nation is a huge task. And coming to the population of India, in 2011, I took 2011 because we have census once in a decade, and in 2011 our last census took place. It is about 1,210 million. And when it comes to customs, we are not only serving our population, but we are serving tourists coming to India, as well as the NRIs, that is peoples of India stationed outside India. So this is India's trade volume, but don't get flabbergasted by the figures. I'll tell you the long and short of the story. By purchasing parity, we are the third biggest power after US and China. And as per the IMF estimate for 2019, India is the fifth largest power in terms of nominal GDP. And coming to merchandise export, our exports are less than imports. And when it comes to services, our exports are more than imports. And our department is Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. It comes under the Ministry of Finance. In Ministry of Finance, there are various departments, and one department is Department of Revenue, and we work under Department of Revenue. So this is our logo. Our motto is Desh Sevat Kar Sanchay. That means tax collection for the service of the nation. Then how we work. Like I showed you the statistics. So we are organized as far as customs functions are concerned. We are organized into 49 customs commissionerates under 11 zones. Then we have Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, which is exclusively for intelligence functions. And of course, other formations of CBIC also help us. When CBIC means Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, we also look after GST, that is Central GST part and Integrated GST parts, and narcotics. But in this presentation, I am concentrating only on our customs functions. I have been talking and mentioning a lot about frontiers, economic frontiers, etc. So these are our frontiers in the sense, like our physical frontiers are very much varied. We have snow-clad mountains, coastlines, deserts, plains, and as far as customs is concerned, we are stationed in airports, in ports, in land customs stations, and in integrated customs stations. Then evolution. In the pre-British era itself, we had some acts to deal with the customs functions. That is, we had Sea Customs Act, Land Customs Act, and the Indian Aircrafts Acts. But it is like colonial acts meant for serving the purpose of British. And after India, we formulated our own customs law in the year 1962. Like certain aspects of these laws have also been integrated into that. And then it have been formulated, taking into having a national perspective. Then we have Customs Tariff Act, which decides like how much, or on the basis of which we decide tariff on each and every item that is being imported into India, and if any cess on export has to be imposed, that Customs Tariff Act gives us power. And our stakeholders, like since customs is concerned, you know, usually people identify us with airports. When I say I work with customs, everyone will ask, okay, you work in airport. But as far as the customs is concerned, airport is important, but equally important are seaports and other land custom stations where import and export takes place. So coming to our stakeholders, importers, exporters, traders, manufacturers, and customs brokers, that is custom house agents, because everyone will not be conversant with customs terms and terminologies. So for import of goods and cargo, you can always avail the service of customs brokers or custom house agents. So they are also our important stakeholders. Then we have, of course, international passengers. Usually customs is identified as an agency checking the passengers. In India, the customs don't do immigration, but we do passenger facilitation because the goods part is being looked after by us. Then our custodians, because our airports, seaport, land custom stations, all will be having a custodian. Like it can be a government agency or a private agency. The customs is not running the airport or seaport or anything. We are discharging the governmental function required to facilitate passengers and goods. Then we have air and seaport authorities. Then carriers, that is air carriers as well as cargo carriers, that is the shipping lines. Then postal authorities, because you can import and export like gifts and personal items of small quantity through post offices. So postal authorities are also our stakeholders. Then we have banks. Of course, you need to pay customs duty, and so banks are also our stakeholders. And then there are a lot of other government and semi-government authorities who give permission to, because when some particular goods are imported, they need permission from other agencies also. So like quarantine, animal quarantine, plant quarantine, drugs authority, they are also our stakeholders. Then now coming to our functions. We have three important functions to discharge. One is revenue, the other is facilitation, and the third one is enforcement. Coming to revenue function, India still depends upon the revenue generated from the imports of goods. Of course, the revenue generated is very less. It is very less compared to other forms of taxation, but still we consider import of goods also as a part of revenue. And coming to facilitation aspect, prior to 1990, we were very restrictive about imports. The duties which import of goods had like a lot of duties, and even the passenger baggage, the goods you carry in your baggage as an international passenger had very high rates of duties. But in 1990s, liberalization happened in India also. Like now we are facilitating trade, and we have lots of policies and programs to facilitate trade and import and export of goods. So running of those devising and the proper running of those programs are also an important part of customs. Then coming to the most exciting portion, enforcement. Yes, because we have certain goods that we don't want to cross our borders, either as import of good or as export of goods. It is not only in an enforcement angle, but also for the well-being of the society, like certain goods, narcotics, arms, we don't want to cross them our borders, or we don't want to enter them across our borders. So we are protecting our country from the infiltration of those goods, as well as that's a promise from our organization to the world that we won't allow the export of those goods or the illegal trade of those goods from India. And there are also some international treaties which India is part of, saying that such goods will be restricted and we won't allow the export of those goods or the import of those goods. These functions, that is revenue, facilitation and enforcement, like they overlap and sometimes they are conflicting also. Like if you want to give a lot of facilitation, enforcement will be hampered, and sometimes if you are like giving so much emphasis on your revenue aspect, again facilitation will be hampered. So it decides like the domestic and the foreign policies of India, and the commitments made by the government of India decide the discharge of these functions. Then coming to revenue and facilitation, we are a member of WCO, that is the World Customs Organization. In the beginning also, I greeted you Customs Day greetings because it's like World Customs Organization is a customs corporation of cooperative council of 183 countries, and they devise policies for unified customs procedure. So India is also a signatory to WCO. So almost all the policies which are in the book of WCO, we also implement them. Then revised Kyoto Convention, it is again a part of WCO. It is meant for harmonizing and simplifying customs procedure across the world, and India is a signatory to that. Then harmonized classification, we will see in the coming slides that we have 8-digit classification, and it is meant to ease the process of business, because I can't say that you are importing some good and I'm arbitrarily charging this much of duty. It is not like that. It has to be classified, and for classification there should be regular guidelines, and then the duty will be imposed. Then GATT-based valuation. GATT-based valuation means we will not impose any arbitrary value on the value of goods imported, but we will go for the transaction value, because it's worldwide accepted that goods should be chargeable to duty on the basis of transaction value. That is the value in which the goods have been transacted. Only if that is not available, we will go for other methods. Then, as I told you, duty rates have come down post-liberalization, and we ask our importers for self-assessment. It is not that as a customs officer, I will sit somewhere or my colleagues will sit somewhere and we will assess the goods. Pre-liberalization, it was not self-assessment, but now it is self-assessment. That is, the importer can tell the authorities that this is the value of goods I am carrying and this much duty I am paying, because how much duty on each goods has been specified. Then we have risk management system, that is for customs clearances. In the previous slide also we saw facilitation and enforcement. It is overlapping also, and sometimes it can be conflicting also. For RMS also, coming to RMS, we don't open all the consignments from across the world, because then it will cause a lot of delay and the ease of doing business will be affected and the dwell time of cargo will increase. So we have some risk measures, and only on the basis of those risk measures, we'll choose which cargo to be opened or which cargo should go for a detailed examination. Usually we don't open the export cargo as well as import cargo, but on the basis of if our system throws any indication that this is a high risk consignment, then we'll go for second examination, and sometimes we'll open also. Then we have Swiftest is a single window interface. I told you when a good is imported, it is not only customs that gives clearance for the goods. Customs is only assessing the duty, but there are lots of other agencies like plant quarantine, animal quarantine, drugs authority. So an importer will have to go for each and every authority. So now customs has a policy that we will be the single interface for all those agencies. File the application with us and you will get clearance. That other clearances will be we will be forwarding the application. Then we have AEO programs. AEO programs is authorized economic operators. That's also a WCO program only. That it means that if you comply with certain things and if you don't have any cases against you, we will give you speedy clearance, as well as you also have the option for deferred payment of duty. That is, it is not saying that you comply with everything, then we will give you clearance. It's not like that. You comply with everything, we'll give you more facilitation, that even you can have the facility of opting for deferred payment of duty. It is just for increasing the ease of doing business. And it is also instead of having a strict policy, it's like a carrot policy. You comply with everything, you do the right assessment, we are there to help you. Then we have Sebotham, that is our internal standards. We have set standards for ourselves. That is, we'll clear the import cargo in this much time, we'll clear the export cargo in this much time, and Only if those guidelines are adhered to, we'll ourselves give favoritism. That is, an external agency will come to us, will evaluate our records, and only if we are like doing all those passenger facilitation measures, and only if we are adhering to the internal standards set by our department, we'll be getting a favoritism certificate. And from the board or the center, it is always a pressure on the field formations to get this certificate. That means they will have to work for the passengers and the cargo. Then coming to passengers, because always customs means international passengers, and I didn't mention anything about passengers. It's like 90% of passengers they are given green channel clearance. That is, they don't have to come to customs for normal clearance. You just have to take the immigration clearance and you can leave. Then if you have anything to declare, that is, for as far as Indian customs is concerned, we have a free allowance of 50,000 rupees, and if you have having anything more than for passengers coming from Indian passengers coming from abroad, for tourists it is 15,000 rupees, and if you have anything above that, you will have to come and declare. And since like many of you might have been asked the question by US Customs that, do you have dollars above 5,000? So we also ask that question, but we don't ask it regularly, but we just tell the passengers that if you have dollars above this much, then please come to us and give us a statement. Nothing will be like no penalization or anything. We just have to make a record that this person is carrying more than $5,000 or near money assets more than $10,000. Then our share of indirect taxation in the total GDP is around 7%. We do all these things. Indirect taxation is not only customs, other indirect taxes also. The total percentage of share in GDP is only 7%. It is much high for other developed countries. Then we spoke about this harmonized classification and all. Can you just guess? This is like an 8-digit number. What will be this? As a wild guess, I'll give you a clue. Our concern for you is like a red.
I'm counting number for.
Yeah, this represents something. This is for rose. Rose flower. That's why I told red. So this way it is classified. Rose is in chapter 6. Chapter 6 is for live trees, other plants, bulbs, roots, and the like, cut flowers, ornamental foliage. And in that, number is 0603. The heading is 0603. And in that, cut flowers and flower buds are kind of suitable for bouquets. I'm not reading the entire thing. And in that, you have the tariff item 06031100, and it is rose. So in this way, we calculate like goods are classified and like, but don't try to import roses to India because it's not profitable. For a kg, it is 60%, so it's very high duty. For very few goods, like such high duty is imposed. Usually it is around 10, 12, something like that. So in this way, this is the 8-digit classification. For all the items imported, it will be classified into any of these categories. This is only chapter 6. Like that, there are 98 chapters and 12,000 things. So for each good, this will be there. Yes, now coming to enforcement. In enforcement, we have 3 different duties. One is stopping outright smuggling. Other is prevention of commercial frauds, and the third is non-fiscal enforcement. First, I'll come to commercial frauds. Usually, a country in which depends customs also for revenue, you will be thinking that the major crime is undervaluation. That is, for a good which is priced at, or which is supposed to be priced at 100, is being declared as 10, and then value will be calculated only on 10. So that is one form of fraud. But the more serious is quoting 1,000 for something that is valued at 100. Because that is more serious in the sense that is the way by which illegally earned money is being taken out of our country to some other safe tax havens. It can be Switzerland, anywhere. And that is the way through which illegally earned money remains unaccounted. So, this declaration, that is undervaluation as well as overvaluation, is a customs offense. And prevention of trade-based money laundering is one of the major functions we do, that is commercial frauds. Usually people say that, no, it is, they have valued less, that's a crime. Yes, that is an offense, but equally important is the overvaluation, because that has a wider network. That involves like money from some other illegal activities from India, it's going to some other country, and it can come back to India as white money. So this is a very serious thing, and we are there to stop undervaluation as well as overvaluation. Then we have some exemption notifications, because though I told you that we depend upon revenue from customs also, but how much tax we should impose on a good, it depends upon many things, like the elasticity of that good in India, the requirement of that good in India, and India's international commitments, that we are part of some trading unions, then we have some commitments, and India's relations with other countries. We have like MFN, that is most favored nation status, then the goods coming from that nation will be having a preferential treatment for duty, but there are smart people everywhere. So instead of, if a good coming from X country will be given an exemption or less duty, but you can circumvent a good from Y country or N country through X and can claim that much exemption. So we have to stop that also. That's also being taken care of our commercial frauds wing. Then non-fiscal enforcement. Non-fiscal enforcement means wildlife smuggling. There is no duty angle involved in that, but we cannot encourage wildlife smuggling. Though the goods smuggled will be of great value, we don't encourage wildlife smuggling, we have to stop it. Likewise, that is CITES. And likewise, there are lots of conventions, Basel Convention, Cartagena Protocol, Montreal. All these are meant for biosafety, handling of hazardous waste and pesticides and chemicals. So these things don't have any revenue implication, but we are doing it for the well-being of our country as well as for the whole world. That is, we also should not allow those things to be exported out of India. Similarly, we have SCOMET. SCOMET means special chemicals, organisms, materials, equipments, and technology. These are materials or technology that have dual use. Such good that is, it can be used for any purpose. In one of the chemical wars fought, like the chemical weapons used in some particular war, was being procured through legal channels. So the chemicals meant to make that weapon came through legal channel, but it was used for some sinister purpose. So then there was a worldwide consensus, and nations came to an agreement that we should not allow the free export of those kind of things which can be put to dual use. So SCOMET is India's commitment to world that we'll either restrict the export or prohibit the export of special kind of chemicals, organisms, etc., which have a dual or multiple use. Then coming to smuggling. There are lots of things that can be smuggled in and out of a country, and we are there to stop all those things. Yes. So we can start from electronic goods. Electronic goods, this is iPhones. Just to avoid duty, they can be smuggled. Then pirated goods can come, and then it can be a copyright IPR violation. So we have to stop all those things. Then arms smuggling. From India, arms don't go out, but we have to stop arms coming to India, and that's also one of our concern. Then agricultural goods. Agricultural goods also, like these goods come to India without any quarantine test, which is detrimental to the plant health of our country. More than that, we have like special agreements and tariffs meant to protect the interests of farmers of our country. So we cannot have smuggled goods because this is coming through illegal channel. It is not benefiting a farmer in another country, as well as it is detrimental to the farmers in our country and to the general plant health of our country. So we have to stop. Yes?
From where usually the arms come from?
It's like, this has come from the eastern border of India. Yeah. And we collaborate with, yeah.
I just have
Yeah.
a quick question.
Yeah.
A friend in India very proudly showed me his tomato field and asked me to bring back some tomato seeds from the U.S. Illegal, right?
Yeah, yeah. In US, I read not long back, maybe 2 or 3 years back, that a lady was fined because she was carrying an apple when she came for customs clearance. Because apple was given to her in the flight, but apple has seed, so it is not allowed. So it is not that when you are stopped when you are carrying an apple. Sometimes you might have carried an apple and you might have walked, but you should not do that. That is the thing. Coming to wildlife. Can you guess what is this?
Ivory?
This is ivory. This is ivory.
Fish.
Huh?
Fish.
No. It is wildlife.
Kind of worms.
This is tiger teeth.
Sorry.
Tiger teeth.
Tiger.
Yeah. Yeah. After the presentation, you can just Google and see the picture of a tiger doing then you can see this.
And what is in the middle?
What? Yeah, this one. This is star tortoise. It is being it has been attempted to export it out of India. Usually we stop them in airports. And these are like the wildlife. It depends, like it may not always come to airport because airport, like passenger baggage, it has limitations. But land borders are there. So these can like monkeys, fancy birds, Asian civets, they are all coming through land borders. And then this is ivory. Ivory, like in neighboring countries of India also, ivory is prized. In India also, ivory is prized. Then this is red sanders. This is again a restricted because we need to take some license for exporting that. Red sanders goes in big consignments also. Sometimes it comes in passenger baggage also. It's like weird. It depends upon like the logic of smuggler. What way I should attempt. This is currency. I put only very few pictures.
Very rich man.
Yeah, because this is 2,000 notes. So we have the menace of illegal import and export of currency, Indian currency, foreign currency, and import of fake Indian currency. That's a big issue.
But why is it an issue?
Fake Indian currency.
Oh, it's all fake?
No, this is not fake.
But what is the reason? It's like money laundering?
Yeah. Money laundering.
Yeah.
And,
Evasion.
huh? What?
Tax evasion.
Money laundering we discussed, no?
Yeah.
And sometimes Indian money is taken out of India to finance some activities outside India. And then there is something called hawala. Hawala is also a illegal transaction. It is for money laundering only from outsiders to India. And from India to outside also it happens. Narcotics. Narcotics, this is like, it's a usual modus operandi. They will swallow these capsules, they will coat these capsules with something like some chemicals or honey, and usually they are called as mules. They will swallow, will come to our, usually we have such cases coming into India, like swallowing. This is ganja. Ganja is like a kind of narcotics. Then, yeah. It's a kind of marijuana. It's a kind of marijuana.
Did I ask you, why is it tobacco production smuggling is the issue?
I am coming to that. So when it comes to narcotics smuggling, it is not that only a passenger or a single person will be carrying narcotics. So it can be camouflaged in a big cargo assignment, because this is one of our seizures which may be made in the last year. This is 572 kilograms of heroin. Can you imagine? So it came through rock salt. It was a big consignment of rock salt. And so it is very difficult unless and until you have a very keen eye or you are very keen with intelligence or other things, it will go undetected. Because I told you, like, we are not opening and checking each and every consignment. In which consignment there is salt, in which consignment there is something else, we don't do. So, and this is like more than 2,700 crores. 1 crore means 10 million. So, such things, such kind of smuggling also happens. That is, it came to India. And from India, chemicals like synthetic drugs go out, like ketamine and all, party drugs and all, that go out. Then cigarette smuggling is also there, because in India cigarettes have high taxes. So that is also being smuggled. Sometimes we have like smugglers, they will be having 2 or 3 packets, sometimes it will be very small. When we catch a smuggler with something else, he'll be having some cigarettes also with him. Sometimes it will be a big cigarette consignment. The passenger will be coming either through road, in bus or rail or train or something, and we'll have to stop him. Then is antiquities and art. As far as India is concerned, this is a big issue. So this is a news item which I took from US only. That is, the Met is reviewing 15 objects it received from an alleged smuggler. So he was posing before the Met as an art dealer. And in fact, this statue, it came back to India. The first one, that is the statue of Mahishasura-Mardini, it came back to, because I think it came from Australia, I'm not sure. So the government realized that it is a smuggled thing and it was given back. So passengers, especially the international passengers coming to India, they usually collect such kind of art pieces, and so it is our duty to check whether it is antiquity or not. They are supposed to carry a non-antiquity certificate, but usually passengers are not aware of that. That if you are taking anything of the sort from India, you should take an non-antiquity certificate, but usually people are not aware.
Get the certificate.
Actually, we can get it. The seller should have a certificate that this is. They have to be in touch with ASI, that is Archaeological Survey of India. They will have a joint meeting and they will have to certify. But passengers are not aware of this. And other thing is, yes, and so another funny thing is, sometimes when the passengers say that it is very old, because they might be like, sometimes it happens that they might be told that it is very old. But it may not be very old. That also happens. This is still in Met. Yes, this is still in the US, and this is like one of the items that is being considered for giving it back to India. And then there is an organized racket. This passenger aspect, actually, it can be managed, because it can be managed and it is easy to manage. But there is organized racket, like they won't be taking it like in person. They will be using some other measures, like along with cargo consignments and all. That is the real problem. Passenger aspect can still be managed through more awareness, or we are vigilant, so we have to be vigilant throughout, and that can be curbed. But the other thing, that is the organized smuggling through rackets, is the big issue. And I put a statue of Nadaraja He is known as Nataraja means the king of dance. It is the dancing form of Shiva. So that has become an icon of Indian archaeological and antiquity. And some Nataraja idols which have been smuggled out have come back, some have not come back. So I just put a representative figure just to make you aware that this is the figure of Nataraja and it is like one of the most sought figures. This is not an antiquity, this is like a modern thing. Then coming to gold smuggling. We have a current account deficit. And so we don't encourage the import, or rather we put a lot of duty on the gold import. But gold is in high demand to India, and gold smuggling is a lucrative business in India. So it comes in different forms. For example, this is a very small quantity. So what he did was, gold was made into a paste. It is very difficult to detect. Gold, if it comes in a metallic form, it is easy to detect. In this case, he made it into a paste. He shaved his head, put it there, and then put a wig. So you know how difficult is our task to identify such things. It is like, these are like normal forms of smuggling, like putting it inside in the sandals, shoes. Sometimes they might, this like import of vegetables and fruits by passengers itself is illegal. But they'll put gold inside such things because usually people won't cut open that. Then this is again like converting gold into paste and putting it in some other things. It was inside shoes. So it is very difficult to detect those things. This is like gold, it is like paper. If you take it, it will fall away. It's like paper and it will be in some an extra layer in the bag or something. It's like in your cargo, like last layer before the bottom, it will be like gold. And sometimes inside the cargo, inside the cartons, like carton walls and all, will be like gold strings. And even your trolley bags, inside that metallic thing, there can be gold rods. And this is like inside electronic equipments, the last one. So these things, actually this is easy to find out, though they think it is difficult. Like for us, it is easy to find out whether there is a gold inside a electronic equipment or not.
So when you scan any item, then all the metals give the same type of reflections or different type? Because otherwise it will not be easy to identify that which is reflected from the gold.
Yeah, usually a person who is very expert in X-ray screening, he can very well identify all these things. But for a paste, it is difficult. We have like other sources also. It is not only through X-ray. And like in a busy airport like Delhi and Mumbai, it is not possible to X-ray all the passenger baggage. Then we will not be able to adhere to the standard that an international passenger should be cleared in 40 minutes. That we will not be able to adhere to that. So it is not possible to scan each and every baggage. That's what I told in the beginning, that sometimes the revenue and enforcement function or the facilitation and enforcement function can overlap and conflict. So this is like inside the car, we do all kind of searches and find. So in 2018-19, we detected some 23,806 cases of smuggling involving everything and goods worth 2,872 crores. And do you know what is the most valuable item that is being smuggled? Guess, any guess? Answer is simple, it is human beings. Human trafficking, human beings. Human trafficking. I just tweaked the terminology. It is human trafficking. Then we also cooperate and collaborate with other agencies in the border, like we have BSF, Army, ITBP, lots of agencies in the border. That is, they have like better equipments, better weapons, going for a raid and all. So we cooperate with all of them. We have our own intelligence agencies and we have our own intelligence system. Sometimes we share it because after all, it is the well-being of the country. So we collaborate with them. Similarly, we collaborate with customs formations of other countries also because this artifacts dealer was arrested with the help of CBP. And customs, this time the tagline, that is every year WCO has a theme for Customs Day. So this time the theme for Customs Day is Customs Fostering Sustainability for People, Prosperity and Planet. That is like we have to collaborate. And then it's very obvious. And Borders Divide, Customs Connects. That is the vision statement of WCO. We also believe in that. Thank you.
Yes, time for questions.
Yes.
So thank you, Parvati, for the wonderful
Thank you.
presentation. The President of Brazil visited India
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
And one of the points that discussed it was the necessity of visa between India nationals and Brazilian
Yeah.
nationals.
Yeah.
At the same time, some Customs and Borders authorities in Brazil started to complain that, oh my God, it's impossible for us because India has a huge population and it will flood our borders. I want to hear from your perspective if this complaining has some truth behind that, or is just political rhetoric.
See, we can always say that we don't want any other people to come to our country. That we can always say. And we can, other side of the coin is, we can always welcome people. So it depends upon your outlook. Like what you exactly want. Anyway, if more people are coming, your workload will be increasing from a customs perspective. But we are there to work only. So it depends upon the internal policies of your country and other pressures in your country like infrastructure facilities and all. I meant customs infrastructure facilities and all, because if more people are expected, our airport should have that many facilities. That's it.
Could you just maybe clarify Marco's question? It
Yeah.
was not for you because your presentation was about custom,
Yeah.
but it's more about
Yeah, yeah, it depends.
about visa issue and like
Yeah.
diplomatic connections.
Yeah.
So like recently the price of the Indian visa increased, and it's very weird because people are trying diplomatic relations work in order to make it easier to people for traveling, and Indian government increase in price for visa, and it's weird because they should be interested in tourists.
Yeah.
So maybe the question is, what do you think about future perspective? Our India government is eager to have free visa regime for tourists and the same conditions for country like my country, like
yeah.
Brazil. So how do you see it?
See, that depends upon the policy of the government. Like whatever is the policy, we have to implement it. So, and policy is not decided by one single factor. There are lots of issues that decide a policy. If the price has been increased, many other factors might have contributed to that. It is not that India don't want.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a good
Many factors might have contributed to that. Yeah.
$100 for a visa, it's very much.
I think Canadian visa is $140.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah.
Even more.
So
Almost like American visa.
yeah. So it depends on a lot of things. Yeah.
And now my question is, what country, which border, or what country is more dangerous and need to be enforced? I mean, for India custom, which border should be protected more?
This is a very diplomatic question. I have to be very diplomatic in answering the question also. I say that all our borders are sensitive. We are not against people, but we are against illegal trade and illegal, I say the human trafficking aspect. We don't, in India, customs don't look into human trafficking, but we are concerned about the illegal movement of man and material across the border. It is not from the country of origin or anything. But whoever, from whichever country, if an illegal trade or passenger or a person is trying to come to India, we have to stop it. So we cannot say that one border, there are certain sensitive areas, but I cannot or I will not say that this is the place that we have to be very careful. That I won't say. We are cautious across the borders, because you can say that like Trivandrum is one of the southernmost city. I belong to Trivandrum. Usually we can say that we have a coastal border. We don't have, we only have Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has very good relations with India. And so we can say that it is very safe, but it is not like that. Things can be smuggled into Trivandrum airport also, which is insensitive from many other aspects. So if we are not keeping vigil, something will come from that. You might be having many sensitive places, but if you are not keeping vigil in other places, they can always divert to such places. So all the borders, all the points are equally sensitive to us. Yes.
Thank you, Parvati, for this very interesting
You are welcome.
custom services. Well, as all of us we know, custom services has a crucial role in national security in any country. It's the deal there is a lot of money, a lot of power in the deal. So for the national security, health security, economical security, etc. So and where we have a lot of money, there is also, as you know, corruption. So and everywhere, I guess, custom services has this problem. There is the inside, the popular insight of the custom service that there are many corrupt people in that services because they have a lot of power and they deal with a lot of money. So in India, what kind of measures your government is taking to prevent it? Because in Tunisia, as I'm from Tunisia, we have that problem and we still don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
So we try to do like cameras on the agents. Each agent has a camera. So because like for the police here, for example, so that any interaction with citizens or with people should be recorded, etc. So how the things are going?
Yeah, it's a very valid question. See, we are not a military regime that we are keeping a watch on the movement of each and everyone. But to stop corruption, we have internal mechanisms. We have a specific intelligence agency for collecting intelligence. So in between, if our officers also does something wrong, they are also being caught. And then some cases are being investigated by, like in US we have FBI, in India we have CBI. So if it's like a major corruption issue, they take the lead.
What about what we call the small corruption? Because generally it's the accumulation of many small corruption acts that is the problem, then the huge ones. So how to prevent this? That makes also it has an impact on the economics also, on the normal transactions that people do. Because this is what we have that problem in Tunisia, and I guess in all the developing countries. Because also customs services deal with security, but should not be a barrier to healthy economical life, you know. Because you need to have free transaction and a safe transaction. It did not be threatened all the time by agents that have some interest, etc. You have to pay to pass things that it's your right to pass, etc.
Stopping small corruption. Empower your people. Who gives money?
Yeah.
Empower your people of their rights and obligations.
But people, if they don't, this is the problem. If they don't, they will pay just because they want their stuff be transacted.
It's like your people, like citizens across the world.
Culture, etc.
Yeah.
But we need to do with regulations and with measurements.
Yeah, corruption, like corrupt officers are strictly dealt with. And we have a lot of deterrent measures inside the department to stop them. And if, like I told you, corruption is like a two-way process. If somebody is receiving, somebody is giving also. So the basic thing is to empower the people, to educate them, make them aware of their rights. And if some officer is being caught, we are dealing very strictly, he will be dismissed from the service.
And it's not only the case with the customs itself.
Yeah.
It is for the whole government officials and others also. I mean, it's a very general question, and normally every country will be having some or the other level of that.
Definitely.
corruption.
Yeah.
And this is really very much unanswered question if we say that whether it can be totally eliminated.
Yeah.
So the extent to which it can be done, that is the true regulation.
Yeah, and it is like to make people aware, because monitoring each and every officer, we are going to another world. So instead of that, we can always make people aware of their rights. That will be the best thing.
Yeah. This answer is the answer that we have all the time, even in my country. And this means that, as a translation, that we cannot do anything. But that's
No, it's not right. I will tell you.
It's wrong. Why? Because even in all the government, I'm working for the government, and this is a problem with all the people who are working in the government. To fight corruption, we need to enhance transparency.
Yeah,
How to make all the transaction, all the dealing transparent, you know? Because this is when you enhance the transparency, people can know more. You cannot wait that people will be educated on how the culture. You need to enforce. And this is what happened in all the developed countries. How they migrated from is by the enforcement of laws. You need to enforce laws, not to wait for the punishment or the, you said that if someone after investigation is sued or something, he will be fined. We need to prevent. How to make all the transaction digital use the technology.
yeah, we use digital technology. We don't have I told you, we have all the systems, all the documents are filed online. And now even for passengers, we have a mobile app. It is known as Atithi. I have not used it because I plan to use it when I go back to India. It has been inaugurated 2-3 months back. So that even the normal customs declaration we can file through an app. So we are digitized. We have almost digitized almost the entire functions.
So there are developments.
Yeah. All these functions like these applications, forms are all online. Nothing is in paper. And if you have to file anything in paper, you need to take special permission. Because sometimes it can happen that you are not able to file online, then you have to take special permission. Not the importer, like the officer in charge will have to take permission that I am taking a paper bill of entry or shipping bill, sanction has to be taken. Otherwise, everything is online. And we have an initiative, Digital India, maximum digital transactions, even the payments, everything is digitally captured.
We have time for one more question.
Yeah, please.
Okay, I came late.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But it's a general question I have about India. Actually, last April, I visited 3 cities, for a few, 15 days. But the question is, just sometimes, the news are coming from India about the very strong violence against women. So about raping or these things. I know sometimes news are focusing on this kind of news very strongly to just to show it more. But the question is, what is the reality about this kind? It is cultural, or it's happening in small cities, or what is the government's plan to face with this kind of bad news are coming from India?
Yeah, I have 2 answers to this question. One is...
When I have been, sorry, just dropping you, so I never faced with anything.
Yeah.
So
I have 2 answers. One is that I was focusing on customs angle. So this is out of my presentation. And as an Indian citizen, I can say that we are trying our level best to bring in peace and order of law. There are sometimes a law will be violated and sometimes an incident might happen. But we are, our enforcement agencies are very much into curbing all such kind of human rights violation and other sorts of atrocities. So I think it has nothing to do with my presentation. In general, our systems are very much vigilant to prevent human rights violation of any kind, whether it is against women, man, or any other person. The government agencies are vigilant. And in our formations, we ensure that there is a law preventing, making provision for prevention of sexual harassment of women in working place. So there is a law for that, and we are also enforcing it very strictly because the information is very confidential, but at the same time, the results will be like very stringent because I was dealing with that in my department. Yes.
And of course, this happens everywhere.
Yes. International media is always biased towards India in highlighting such cases.
Well, you know, they go after sensational things, right? That's
I didn't know any experience Spanish.
Yeah.
It's lovely in India.
Yeah.
But news is
Happy for that.
yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. Women have to be careful everywhere. That's what I'm saying.
Just one question.
Yeah.
You mentioned about CHA, custom house.
Yeah.
So are these custom house agents they are certified by the?
They have exams.
They have exams.
Yeah,
And
for
then
different levels of
you
exams.
can work as CHAs.
Yeah, they have exams. Departmental held exams.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for participating.
Thank you very much.